Today our lesson is on slope. The slope of a line is the ratio that compares the difference of the y-coordinates to the difference of the x-coordinates. For example, if we have a first-ordered pair here, that 1 represents the first-ordered pair. If we had a second-ordered pair, we're just comparing the difference in the y values and the difference in the x values. But subtraction is not commutative, so you have to be very careful in the order that you subtract. So if I start with the first, this ordered pair up top, I got to start with the x term at the bottom in the first ordered pair there when you subtract, because subtraction is not commutative. All right, here's the formula for a slope. The slope of a line can be found between any 2 points using this ratio, and m just represents slope. And again, we tag it just to be consistent in how you subtract. All right, for example, given points 3, 2, and 5, 6, find the slope. So let's say I start with 3, 2. Sometimes I write it this way in order to make sure I don't mix things up. So these are my y's, these are my x numbers. So you can go in any order you like, but you have to be consistent. Let's say I start with 6. I have to say 6 minus 2. But I have to say 5 minus 3. It would be incorrect to say 3 minus 5. I have to say 5 minus 3 because I started with the 6 down here with that order pair. And what you do is subtract and then reduce if you can. So we know that 6 minus 2 is 4. And 5 minus 3 is 2. 2 divides into 4 twice, 2 times. So we know that the slope is 2 in this case between the 2 points. Our given points -1, 2, and 3, 5. Find the slope. All right, same thing. All right, we know that this is my y's and this is my x. So I can say 5 minus 2. But then I have to say 3 minus. This minus is always fixed. But notice this is a -1, so it's minus a -1. So 5 minus 2 we know is 3. But this changes to 3 plus 1. So this is 3 over 4. So the slope is 3/4. Find the slope-intercept form of a linear equation is y equals mx plus b. And this is very useful for a lot of reasons. This tells me the slope. And this tells me the y-intercept. So let's say I have an equation that says y equals 3x plus 5. If I ask for the slope, I automatically know that the slope is 3. And I know that the y-intercept is 5. I can just read it off. All right, so look, given that y equals 3x minus 2, state the slope and the y-intercept. Well, it's already in the format of y equals mx plus b. So we know that the slope is 3. And the y-intercept has to be careful though, it's -2, not 2. Given 5x plus 2y equals 10, state the slope and the y-intercept. Well, if you notice this equation, it's not written in slope-intercept form. This is written in standard form. So what you got to do is solve for y in terms of x. Simply move the x term to the other side. All right, so you get 2y, but you cannot subtract 5 from 10. This is a 5x. So that's going to be negative 5x plus 10. Then divide both sides by 2. So I get y equals negative 5 halves x plus 5. So I know my slope is negative 5 halves and my y-intercept is 5. And my y-intercept is going to be 5. We can use this for graphing. This is what we can use slope and y-intercept for. You can easily graph. You don't have to use tables just by using the slope and the y-intercept. For example, graphing y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4, only using slope and y-intercept. So I know that the slope has to be negative 2/3. And I know my y-intercept must be 4. This is my starting point. The y-intercept is your starting point. So we're going to graph that. We're going to start with this point first. And then we're going to count over the slope. This is called my rising number. And this is my running number. So let's do that. All right, so we know that the y-intercept is 4. So you go to the y-axis, this is the vertical axis, you're going to count up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, make a point. And we know that the slope was negative 2/3. All right, so it doesn't matter if you run or rise first. Let's say I go to the 3, I go to the right 3. The bottom number you go to either to the left or right, depending on the sign. It's positive 3, so I'm going to run over 3. 1, start from here, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And then this is negative, so I'm going to go down 2. So 1, 2. And notice the pattern kind of starts like, it looks like a stair. And you're going to make, eventually you're going to connect the points. Let's do it one more time though. Here's another point. We're going to go to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to go down 2. And if I connect those points, this is what I get. And it keeps going. But this is the line. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4. Our graph 4y minus x equals 4 using only the slope and y-intercept. Again, this is not in slope-intercept form, so you want to change it to slope-intercept form first. So I got 4y minus x equals 4. Move the x term to the opposite side. So you get 4y equals x plus 4. And if I divide 4 to both sides, I get y equals x over 4 is the same as 1/4 times x plus 1. So we know our slope is 1/4 and our y-intercept is 1. All right, so you can use this. Since the y-intercept is 1, I'm going to start at 1 on the y-axis here. And our slope is 1/4. So I can run over 4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go up 1. Or I can go the other way around. I could say to the left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down 1. And that's going to be our line. And it continues in both directions. This concludes our lesson for today.